That right there looks like the result of some pup in distress.
This is pup in distress. That's something about this game. You can't be closed-minded because by the time you think you've got it all figured out, they make you look stupid.
I'll tell you what, the pup in distress, when they were leaving like that, I knew good and well that we could hit that, and sure enough, here they come.
I honestly don't believe he was coming to a distress sound, but you could tell whenever he hit that pup distress, those ears kind of perked up, and he covered some ground then coming to us.
Pup distress number 3.
Some said it was just a fad, that it would die out. That's all right, let it die out in their eyes. We'll still keep playing it, and we'll still keep shooting coyotes.
And that's one thing about having those coyote vocals. I feel sorry for predator hunters that they don't know there's a whole nother world out there that you can tap into. Incoming! Oh, as far as I'm concerned, every time you leave a stand, before you leave, you need to be throwing some of that out there. I mean, look what happens.
You know what's better than loading up 1? Loading up 2.
That's the best thing you've said all day, Ronnie.
This never gets old. In the day, or rather the night that it does,
Chris, right, here we go.
I don't know what I'll do with myself. This is what it's all about, hunting and doing what we love, trying to bring stuff for you guys at home to enjoy. And this is the fruits of our labor. Enough of the sweet talk. Let's go do this again.
Have you ever wondered what went through the mind of the very first person who one day realized he could take a screaming rabbit and make a coyote come to it? Some will argue that so-and-so was the first, and another would claim defiantly, no, it was this guy back on this day, back in the 50s, on a date he likely pulled from you-know-where. Well, all that aside, regardless of who it actually was, doesn't change the fact that somebody was the first. Can you imagine the light bulb that went off in his head? That faithful day, one clever fella realized he could use a predator's instinct to go to a distress sound to his advantage. It was the inception of the sport we all love. Since that day, there's been a handful of discoveries within the sport that have left a permanent mark, but none of them can compare to the discovery of coyote vocalizations. This discovery alone has led to the demise of thousands of coyotes that would not respond to a distress sound, yet they still met their maker, responding to a call for something other than hunger. It was a groundbreaking advancement of the knowledge within the sport. Just like the notation BC or AD on a date, predator calling will forever be classified in 2 periods: before coyote vocals and after coyote vocals. A typical stand for us will usually go in a certain order. We will almost always begin our stands with distress sounds first, for the first 15 to 20 minutes, while changing sounds about every 5 minutes or so. Some hunters prefer running coyote vocalizations right out of the gate, but that's just not our style. We like running the bread and butter prey in distress first to get those coyotes easy to respond first before we switch to all the coyote vocalizations. We've experienced getting more bonus animals per stand early, going in that order, versus starting out with all the coyote vocals. Once 15 to 20 minutes comes and goes, response or not, we will unleash the Fox Pro and let it do what it does best, and that's get a coyote's attention. I think now would be the perfect time to tell you all a little story. About 10 years ago, before I ever owned a Fox Pro and was working with a different game call manufacturer, we decided out of the blue to take a trip to West Texas with a good friend of ours, Bruce Williams. Well, Bruce wanted to bring a guy along I had never met, but he spoke very highly of, so I figured sure, what the heck. There's plenty of room, tell him he's welcome to go. As it turns out, we were about to embark on a hunting trip that would forever change our outlook on calling, because the guy we were with was Mr. Coyote Vocals himself. It was Kelly Jackson. For 3 solid nights, we absolutely slaughtered the coyotes, and only a handful of them had responded to a distress sound. The rest came to all the coyote vocals Kelly had on his Fox Pro CS24. It was unlike anything I had ever been a part of, but I knew I wanted to learn this new world for myself. I took 2 things away from that trip: a new friend and a fresh and clear understanding that a distress sound isn't the only thing a coyote will respond to. Well, shortly after returning with my new enlightenment, I decided to approach my call manufacturer and explain to him what I had experienced. Thinking he would be interested, I posed the question, what would you think about working on a coyote vocalization library of our own? Well, after smirking and patting me on the back, he says, "Son, coyote vocals are just a fad. They won't be around long, so we'll just stick with what works." I thought to myself, wow, how close-minded was that comment?
Pup distress number 3.
Some said it was just a fad, that it would die out. That's all right. Let it die out in their eyes. We'll still keep playing it, and we'll still keep shooting coyotes.
His mindset left no room for growth within his product, but it also left me no choice but to go out and buy a Fox Pro CS24 of my own with all the same coyote sounds that Kelly just proved to me firsthand will work. Coyote vocals are not just another sound. They are an entirely different element that will, for whatever reason, always appeal to the other side of a coyote, and that's simply being a canine. We've tried putting our finger on exactly why they respond to those sounds, but to this day have yet to come up with a good conclusion. All I know is they just respond.
That's something about this game. You can't be closed-minded, because about the time you think you've got it all figured out, they make you look stupid.
Call it what you like, but if you're not running a Fox Pro and your game call can't offer you strong coyote vocals that simply produce results, this is only the tip of the iceberg of what you're missing out on. These are the sounds you will only get once you own a Fox Pro.
I'm gonna go slow. Just tap on the hood if you see something.
Okay. You got it.
You ready?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we've been driving in a place like this. The grass is kind of tall, and there's usually always something in this field. There's so many times we've been driving in and had somebody up top just kind of scanning with the thermal and spot a coyote out there quick enough to where we can get up and get after them. But that reap can see out there 600-700 yards in front of the truck. You can see him way out there. We're completely blacked out right now. We've got a little bit of moon, but not a whole lot. I've got enough to kind of see where I'm going. And if there's anything out there, he'll pick it up.
There's 4 leaving right now.
You want to stop here?
We might as well. Hopefully they'll stop. Shut it off.
Like I said, there's always coyotes in this field.
Once I heard the tap on the top of the truck, I knew we had some company. There were 4 coyotes already in the pasture. The only problem is they were already a bit spooked and slowly walking away, so I figured it was best to cut to the chase and give them something I knew would for sure get their attention. The one coyote vocal that's likely killed more coyotes than all the rest. Pup in Distress number 3. And man, did it ever. All I could see was eyes bouncing all over the place headed our way.
Back to the left. Back to the left. Right there. Right there.
Oh my God.
Holy moly. Can you believe that? Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Dude, those things came in on a rail. Holy cow.
Gotta love the thermal.
You just can't beat it. Without that, we'd have pushed those coyotes and never known they were even there. The grass is just too high out here. We never ever would have seen them with the light.
That thing is worth its weight in gold, man.
We'd have pushed those coyotes and never seen them. You know, but as soon as they got up out of that grass and started running off, we saw them, shut down the truck. Just perfect. Just perfect.
I gotta go put my hands on them things.
We can't script that any better.
No, not a bit.
I hope this isn't like fishing. You catch one on the first stand and the rest of your night's gonna
If we don't
be a
see
little
nothing, I could care less.
It'll
at
be
this
worth
point.
it. Good start.
This is what some guys would call a true triple. I just call it one heck of a good time. To get 3 out of 4 coyotes on your first stand is the kind of numbers I'll take any day.
That is the way to start a night.
We got this place where me and Jared slipped out into this field. The landowner's been wanting us to kill every pig we see, including every one that we don't see. He's wanting us to kill it. And we were rolling through here with a thermal and had 2 big old pigs sitting right out in the middle of this field. And we killed one of them, shot it 3 times, and never found it until the next day, and the coyotes had already started eating on it. So there's a pretty good chance that there's going to be some coyotes somewhere close by.
This was a stand that Ronnie and I made last year in a pasture. We've since already taken a coyote with thermal this season. Ironically, the rig was parked in the exact same place the landowner has his tractor parked here 6 months later.
Get him.
This stand is the perfect 1-2 punch and clarifies exactly why we prefer going to distress first and backing them up with coyote vocals. We were hunting near a dead pig, so I knew coyotes were close by, and after only a few seconds of baby cottontail, the first coyote decided to come check us out. Coyote vocals are a very powerful tool, but understanding when and how to use them is very important also. In some cases like this one, during the dead of winter, when they're hungry, you can appeal to certain coyotes with something simple first and often get quick responses. Those are coyotes I don't want to overlook by jumping straight into coyote vocalizations. By taking this approach with our stands in this area, we've managed to kill hundreds of coyotes with distress prior to switching to coyote vocals and killing another. One great advantage you may not consider to going in that order at night is you often get multiple individual opportunities per stand at different times throughout the stand on different coyotes. At night, that's a huge plus, dealing with only one at a time instead of everyone showing up at once. To make it simple, call up a coyote, kill a coyote, switch to coyote vocals, and kill another.
Man, we need to go get him. Stuff is moving. Oh, right here, right here, right here. There's 2 of them there. Can't beat that with a stick, son. They look like big fat coyotes.
Yeah, they were both big, furred up coyotes.
Had to take my glove off to be able to get to the camera. Now my hands are cold. Gotta love a double.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
First one should be right over here.
These were no spring chickens, and killing full-grown smart ones is a true testament to the potential that lies within every Fox Pro with these particular sounds. Sometimes it's easy, but when it's not, your game call still has to perform with the sounds you brought to play with. In my eyes, showing up without the right tools to get the job done is a mistake and will cost you coyotes. That's why we use a Fox Pro.
God almighty. Dude, I bet that is over 40. Dude, that coyote.
I don't know. This is a pretty good size one here too. But he's not as heavy as that one.
Holy crap. Watch out. Jeez. That thing's full of something.
Yeah, he's heavy.
Dang sure ain't no spring chickens, that's for sure. Both males. They look like they're probably about the same size.
They ain't gonna get no bigger.
No, this one's actually got a bigger head on him. Look at that. That one's got some pretty color. That's real dark.
Real dark filter.
I consider the opportunity we had to learn this different approach to hunting coyotes a gift that I too would love to give to someone else. It just takes 2 ingredients. The first is simply a want to, and the other is a Fox Pro.